just making this video in response to someone on Facebook who is interested in this game but doesn't want to get it because of, well, the art style. But good news is, after a certain point, you don't necessarily have to play with the characters in this chibi art style. You can switch back and forth. The two main characters, huge forms and their chibi forms. The reason for that is because you have two battle teams for each of your forms. As you see, this is the small chibi battle team for both characters. And this is the large battle teams for both characters. Keep in mind that each battle teams, depending on whether you're using the big or the small ones, come with different types of abilities. I'll show you as soon as we get a battle. Random encounters are not that, I mean, they're kinda annoying in this game, but at least that means good experience when you're grinding into higher levels. As you see, we have, with this battle team, we have this setup for abilities. It doesn't, we'll just do it anyway. And then hers is also oh yeah, also in battles, you also have the options to speed up time or just have the computer auto battle. But nope, they will just repeat your previous actions in battle. And I'm gonna reset my stuff so I have my AP back. Oh, and that's another thing. That I'm gonna have to explain, because you're gonna need to know when playing this and when battling. So in battles,
don't let your guard down just because we're strong.
and you see that my battle teams change. But in battles, your mana bar for this game is replaced with what they call an AP bar. And the the AP bar basically allows you to use abilities. And you can see the cost of abilities for each one of them. Attacking is free, doesn't cost you anything, but you might end up with opponents that have high defense or counter or cover or evade your attacks a lot. So that's what might suck if you have no AP. But you can fix that with ether potions. And let's get into some mechanics, because this game has some mechanics that other Final Fantasy games don't have. So the first is champions. You can only have 3 champion medals equipped to your setup. So if you want more, you'll have to switch them out for others. And they act as a type of summon. So they'll come in. It'll be a cinematic attack. And then your regular summons are called Mega Mirages. Also note that the summons in this game, the regular summons anyway, such as Bahamut and the rest of those, they take up party slots. So if you want to use other summons, you'll have to put them in your party instead of them just being automatically there as an option like they are in most of the old Final Fantasy games. After you get them, you have to add them to your party, or you put them in your storage when you're not using them. So that's how that works. Also, note that your abilities and your party stats are also determined by whether or not you have your parties combined in battles, or what this game calls stacking. Because your parties can fight individually or separately. Individually or combined. As you can see here though, my parties are combined, so their attributes are significantly higher because your parties benefit from being combined in this game. But you can also have them fight separately because each party member has their own individual level and abilities. But they're quite sucky when they're not combined. But say just for the sake of fun, you want to make it a numbers game. Now it's a numbers game, but their abilities, as you see, are now weaker, and you're going to have less abilities to choose from. But when we stack up, now you have more abilities, and you might notice some even stronger abilities. like Cura. I have that because I took multiple party members who have a cure ability and combined them, so now they have cure. And the same thing with Ultima. And this spell works kind of the same as in the other ones. It's usually a one-hitter quitter ability. But I think for now I'll just show you a champion. Oh yeah, and some champions can either attack all enemies or just one enemy. So I guess I could show you that. Yeah, it kind of works the same way as Overdrives did in Final Fantasy X. And as you can see here, each of them have their own individual levels. But I don't think you get experience when battling in an area where enemies are technically weaker than you. So keep in mind. And you also have to refill your champions bar, which is that little thing below the save button. Also, for each of your party members, you have a skill tree. We'll just go with her max evolution here. And so just like you see here. But you need SP to unlock these dark nodes, which unlocks abilities in battle, like you get haste, and you also unlock their evolution forms. through the skill tree. Also, summonings also do it. Have them too. And theirs tend to be bigger than your regular party members. And you have some regular summons and you have some not so regular, like Cerberus. Is a summon. And then I guess I could show you some more fun stuff. Come on, was a random battle.
Let's make this quick.
Do your worst.
Now, your summons cost you AP, right? So say if I was to summon Cerberus, he costs 12 AP. That would take one of my party members, say her, because that's who's currently whose turn it is. If I summon Cerberus, and by the way, if you could get him, Cerberus is a really strong summon in this game. I mean, kinda OP summon. Though they don't really have much. They just have attack and then abilities and then dismiss them in battle. And then they don't really have that many abilities to choose from either. But I believe all their abilities are, they attack all enemies. Except for one that he has.
Well, that ought to do it.
Oh, wait!
And then, if we go into another battle, so I can explain, I think, two more things that I can think of. One's related to summons,
No kid gloves for you.
This won't take long.
which is actually a con in this game. So I just used Cerberus, right? Well, oh, they changed it. Well, it used to be, so they must have updated and made a change to that feature. But it used to be, whenever you used a summon, then for any other battles you got into after that, you could not use that summon again. until you rest it at a save point. Because summons can only be used once per battle. Used to be. Another thing is, if we just use Cerberus, which took us away from 12 AP for both party members. So you won't be able to use if you don't have enough, because where AP costs you to do things. So say if we were below 20 AP in total, wouldn't be able to summon Bahamut. What I find kind of cool about Bahamut is he actually has his overdrive in this game.
Predictable.
And then get into another fight here.
Sorry, but this might not end well for you.
Let's make this quick.
So now, as you can see, cannot summon anything because I don't have no AP. Can't summon any of those because I don't have any champion things available yet, and I can't use abilities. Oh, besides Libra, but that's just because it's only one AP point. Now you can fix that with an ether, but I'm not going to do that because I'm close to a rest point. And since we're just at a rest point, we'll just auto battle and fast forward.
Well, that ought to do it.
But auto battle feature is kinda lame because the AI doesn't think, it just repeatedly spams the previous action you used Or if you don't have any AP, it'll just attack or defend. Right, now on to this next one.
Do your worst.
I'm ready when you are.
Now we have abilities. Now say you don't want to rely on your champions or your summons, but you don't feel like fighting a single fight all day. Well, depending on your party setup and what abilities your monsters have, because your monsters can't fight with you and all that shit, will determine what abilities you can use in battle. So you could end up with abilities that necessarily, depending on who you're going up against, what weaknesses they have, and all that stuff. You know, pretty much, you know, you do the math. You can end up with OP one-hitter quitter abilities, such as
Not done yet. We did it.
All right.
or hopefully they'll let me use Tama in the next battle, so I can show hers off, because hers is really cool.
This won't take long.
No kit gloves for you.
And we get to use Tama's. Now note hers, she has two different ones. She has the regular, which still, you know, pretty much one hit kills things. Or she has the plus, which I guess you could say is an even stronger version of it. But it's still one hit kills.
Victory!
Now I have just one more thing to show, because I did mention that this was like Pokemon. This game is essentially a Final Fantasy version of Pokemon. So any monsters you encounter, you essentially can capture. But there are some exceptions to that, because some monsters in this game require specific conditions to be met
Don't let your guard down just because we're stronger.
Sorry, but this might not end well for you.
before you can capture them. If you want to, and you can find out those conditions by using Libra. So, say we don't have a red captain goblin, because these are essentially goblins. See, he requires a specific condition to capture. Seems like he requires 2 specific conditions. You need a red cap prism, which I'll explain those after a bit, what prisms are. And you need to inflict confusion. See what I mean by that? It just spammed my previous action. Can I? No. He does not have Libra. Let's see what a red cap requires to catch, shall we? Ah, well, see, that's gonna be difficult because my current setup one hit kills these guys, so I won't be able to do a lot of damage to catch or to create an opportunity, because when it gives you this kind of thing, essentially they want you to weaken the monster in order to try and catch it, just like in Pokemon games, you know, well, some Pokemon games where you're required to weaken the monster in order to increase your chances of a successful catch. Now, say we weakened it. Ah, can't do it. Must be because you have to create that catch opportunity. Well, I can't show that, unfortunately.
Good job.
Yeah, in case you haven't figured it out, most of your time will be spent in battles in this game. I mean, there's a decent amount of story content, but most of your time will be spent in battles. Let's go refresh at a rest point. There we go. And then you essentially need prisms. These are prisms. Well, they're technically Pokeballs in a way. And there's 2 types. You can get the regular prisms for all your regular enemies. And then they also have these box-like prisms for, like, I don't think I have any in my inventory right now, and I forget where you go to buy them in the game. But they have, like, robot enemies you can catch and use too. I don't know why I don't know why they decided to treat them like they're any different. But no. that sucks. Oh, and you have what the game calls ability seeds. So say, hopefully we have one of them that has one. Oh, wait a minute. Need to go to Mirage boards, I guess. Then click on it. Say you have a blank space, right? You want to get an ability, give an ability to it, to give an ability to like one of your monsters or anything. Well, based on whatever seed you put in here, you'll get the corresponding ability to go with it. So say you give it a cure seed, or yeah, cure seed, right? Well, you essentially will unlock a cure ability. So that's just something to pay attention to there. And then Mirror Jewels are essentially items that unlock passive abilities for your main characters, for the two main characters. And yes, you have to reach certain level milestones to unlock each one. Well, to unlock a Mirror Jewel slot, and then you can just put whatever passive abilities you want. Like you can give them increase gil earnings from battles, or well, she doesn't have it, but there is a experience points booster one, which he has, and it essentially lets you earn more experience per battle. And then also, remember the champions I was talking about? Well, you can essentially turn the two main characters into the champion characters. But doing that disables the ability to summon champions. And I believe you also get their stats and attributes and abilities to use in battle, but I've never really seen that. So that's that mechanic explained as well. And yeah, pretty much it there. I hope that oh, there we go. Okay, so I've explained how you had your party set up and how you had, this is how you essentially set up things, right? You have two battle teams. You have your small battle teams, and then your huge battle teams. And then you just click on them to essentially swap out for other ones. Right? Okay. And then you have your reserves, which are not marked with a check mark. So ones that are in your party but aren't doing any of the fighting. And then, if say you want to swap out your reserves and party members with other ones, you just go here, access prism case, and then you can swap out all your active things, and you can even swap out with their forms, whether they're pre-evolved or evolved. But as you see here, if I take it, it'll reduce her strength stat, her magic stat, and her defense stat. So that is something to consider when swapping out. It'll affect your stuff. You can also swap out your party members to add even more summons. So say if I can find one. Oh, you can also use, though he's the only character party member that I know of that you could use in your party as a monster who fights by your side. But we also have here's a summon, Titan. That's not a summon. We have a Shiva summon right here. We have Rama, Ifrit, Omega, Leviathan, Odin, I think that's it for what I have currently. Oh, and then here is 2 robot monsters, and then there's a big one. You can also use some pretty big regular monsters as regular party members. Anyway, I hope that really helps you out. It's all a matter of encountering monsters, knowing where to find them, and battling and grinding XP. And then every time you level up, you get skill points, which you can then use to unlock abilities and their skill trees. Each monster comes with its own skill tree. They even have, as you can see, monsters that resemble a certain character from the Final Fantasy series, which is Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, the Black Mage technically. And then like these Iron Golem like monsters can also be used. And then I guess I essentially have caught 3 of those goblin things before. And then you also need to pay attention to their stats and abilities. Because as I said before, you know, if you take essentially, say you take 2 monsters that have a fire ability, put them together, you get fire. Well, add another fire ability monster on it and you get Fire Gut. If you combine them. So, if you use the stacking mechanic. feel free to experiment. But no, stacking mechanic is not permanent. If a enemy inflicts enough damage on you, they can get your party members to fall down and on stack. And then I believe your party members will be dazed for a few turns after that, if that happens. So hope that all that information helps you make a decision.